Hello. So we're going in and adding a non-slip texture to the top of the vehicle before we do anything else. I completely forgot to do this. It's similar to doing a cast texture, but you want it to be a bit more aggressive looking. I also got my lacquer thinner and I was able to reconstitute my Mr. Surfacer. So on top of having a new bottle, I've regained a half bottle. That took a while. Let me know if anything's too loud. I did adjust some of the mic settings, so hopefully I won't be too quiet in the future. I don't know if it's going to show the texture too well. You can kind of make it out. Hey Aries, how you doing? Yeah, everything's connecting okay, but it seemed to take forever today, so I don't know. Do I sound okay? Am I a little louder audio-wise for talking? And I don't know if they're done with the internet around here, because yesterday there was an incident where a construction company actually cut the main lines. So if I drop out, I'm sorry. But I upped the gain on the microphone a little bit for my for this microphone. Yeah. Okay. That's good. I hope you're having a slow day at work at least. In a good way. I've also seen people say, "Oh, use chinchilla sand for doing the anti-slip." Don't. It's too coarse. I know in some extreme cases people will throw like sand or really coarse sand onto the vehicle when they're painting it to create an anti-slip texture. But it's not how you replicate the actual like factory applied stuff. And this one would most definitely be more of a factory applied finish. See, Snipe is back and lurking. Welcome back. I don't even know why I didn't think of doing this before. Didn't even occur to me that it would have it, and I know it has it. So that's a bit of stupid on me. So if I do another LAV, should I do the mortar carrying one or the command and control one? The mortar carrying one comes with a pretty extensive interior because the two top hatches open, which means you can see into the driver's compartment and the general interior of the vehicle. Ugh. God, that reminds me of being in the main hangar at Shepherd for training. And I was there during the summer. Is the music at a good volume too? Because I kind of messed with its stuff earlier when I was attempting to do my little review video, which I was not happy with how that turned out. I need more prep time to do stuff like that. I don't know how to frame it, you know? We're starting to get that rough texture that you want for your anti-slip. And there's not going to be a lot of it, just mainly on the very flat top surface of here and the turret. Better? But it wasn't drowning me out like it had before, right? Okay. So the gain adjustment for the microphone is fine, and just the music adjustment got a little loud is all, I guess. I was more concerned about the gain adjustment. But my hope is today to get the base paint on the vehicle. We need to clean up the brush. Yep, kick's working fine. It had disconnected due to the update, but it reconnected okay. Hey Warduck, how's it going? But I am excited to use these wheels. 3D printed these at home. They're the same Michelin X series that it should have, but unlike the trumpeter ones that are actually too wide by about a third, they have the correct number of blocks in the tread and the right diameter. So, yeah, here's one that I painted darker. And they're a vast improvement over the kit tires. And I've got the Warlock antenna to throw on it too. So when people ask how is 3D printing going to change model building, that's how. For I think 15 bucks and about 3 hours of time, I was able to print this out at home. Whereas if I'd ordered the same type of wheels off of, say, eBay or Sprue Brothers, you're looking at 30 to 40, depending on where you buy it, plus shipping, and you might have to wait a week or two. And you have to hope that you can still find them if they're in production for that model. Whereas this, I print them as I need them. Now we're done with that for right now. I remember I was visiting my brother in Kaneohe, and right down from where we were staying was one of the motor pool shacks, and they had an LAV25 in the garage, and they let me take pictures of it, but they left the back doors shut for obvious reasons. Oh, there we go. Now it's stippling up. There we go. Now that it's dried up a bit, we'll see if the camera can pick it up. There you go. Come on, autofocus. But yeah, if the camera can pick it up, it means I'm getting it right. But outside of the resin wheels, the kit's stock. And my main reason for replacing the wheels is the kit ones are just way too wide. It looks like a toy. They stick out past the hull and they're not supposed to. We'll do the turret hatches. Thought my wife was messaging me. But I'm happy with how this kit's turning out. I hate to see that others have not had a good time with it. I had no fit problems. Nothing. Thing went right together just fine. Actually, do the driver's hatch while we're on hatches. That way I won't forget about it. So the mini art set should be here next week in about 4 or 5 days. And that'll give me driver, commander, and gunner. And a couple extra infantry figures. Then I'll have to look up what my uniform options were. If I don't have to paint Marpat, I don't want to paint Marpat. But I believe there was a khaki crew uniform that was worn at the time. Did the matlet have it on it too or no? Pictures, pictures. I'm gonna say yeah, it did. And time for a shakeup. I haven't done a lot of assembly on the turret yet outside of the basic structure. Still got to add the grab handles, hatches, things like that. But I've always liked this vehicle. Yeah, I forgot how thin Mr. Surfacer could be when reconstituted properly. I actually like it like that. It makes it a lot easier to work with. There we go. Starting to get prickly. And if it feels like it's still a little too flat, just add a little more and just keep stabbing at it until it begins to lift more aggressively with the brush. Because what you want is those peaks in the texture to really pop out, and that gives it the look. Especially once it's coated in a couple layers of paint. There we go. You can feel it too. You can feel it pulling on the brush when you lift off. There we go. So, since I don't have figures for the back, and there's no interior, we're going to put the back hatches on, glue them in place. But we will leave the driver's hatch and the turret hatches open. One of the figures that comes in the set appears to be talking on an infantry phone. I don't see any place on the outside where that could be, so I'll play that by ear until I can do a little more looking into that. Okay. Oh, there we go. Carpal tunnel fingers to the rescue today. Found some good pictures on Prime Portal of one of these. Just be sure you're looking at one that's had the SLEP work done, and it's not the A2 version with the armor plate added to the outside. Where did I put my nippers? There they are. Feeling very disorganized today. They actually have the little lockdown thing there. Nice. Go. Gonna try and sand away as much of this ejector pin mark as possible. And then the Plastrux cement should level it off. I don't recall if the hatch had any kind of bounce pad in it or not. I don't think so. It does, but that ring is the pad. So this entire recessed area is what the pad is. Just looks like it's made of formed black foam rubber. And don't forget, for those on Twitch, we're also on Kick and YouTube, which offers more variety and better options than Twitch does. There we go. Fully seated. And yeah, she actually lays pretty level. Sorry, just making sure everything's working real quick. I'm always a bit suspicious after OBS updates. I like where that's going right now. Okay. So we're kind of going back in the instructions. Just to keep the model a bit safer while I was building it, I left off things like the grab handles and such. So we got your lifting ring, antenna. This side's complete. The only thing missing here is the wire cutter. Got a lifting lug, some handles, and a jerry can for this side. But I hope everybody's having a good Friday, good start to their weekend. And I just had a complete brain fart. I'm sorry. There. The next day I'll be on will be Sunday. And then after that it'll be next Friday. There is a time coming up in a couple weeks where I'll be taking 4 days off work. Mainly because I wanted to just take 4 days. But I also want to try and get the dashboard swapped out of my car. And see if I could just do a good length of streaming. I was about to say, I knew I trimmed one of these off. Go on that. Still waiting to hear when the RC M113s are going to hit the market. I know they're out there and being made. I'm definitely going to get one. I might actually get two. Because as soon as those are made, someone's making the M163 upgrade for it. X5. I was wondering what that was for. Okay. Go. Hey Fenrir, how's it going? Aries just left. He his internet went to shit. CBT nightmare? Yeah. That's one thing I miss about mid-90s Air Force, right? You didn't have CBTs. You just spent a day, right? There'd be down days every now and again. You know, the squadron would just go to the base theater and get a whole bunch of briefs. Or it was, Jesus Christ, one a day. Or they'd use the fiscal year, like the October 30th and 31st thing, just have everybody in the day room at the squadron building, and you just do them all one shot, right? B7, B47. Well, congratulations. I wish I could say the same. Let me know if anything's too loud or obnoxious for you. Besides me, that is. I'm still looking around my room, and I can't find my GBU-12 for my 15E. Ever since Allie knocked it off the shelf, it's gone missing, and I've moved every bookshelf and looked around. I'll find it one of these days. Surprisingly enough, for falling 6 feet, very little major damage happened to it. Come on, you. There we go. So I need 6 of the B-47s. Now you'll notice I'm not going to clean off where I clipped them off the sprue just yet, because it's easier just to glue them on the model, let the glue dry, and then lightly just swipe them, for me anyway, than trying to fight them in my barely functioning sausage fingers and risk dropping them. You guys got any plans for the weekend, Fenrir? Let's try adjusting the lights a little bit. I feel there's too much right here in the middle. Oh, no, didn't want to turn them off. Autofocus is really playing hell today, too. No, but in the 4 days that I take off, the first day I just want to get the dash pad out, get the lower plastics off, drop the steering wheel, and get the dash pad out. And while that's out, I want to be able to get to the top of my heater box and fix some of the old vacuum lines that have snapped on it. so that way I can get my climate zones working again for like defrost and stuff like that for the winter. Just take some time. Excuse me. And just kind of clean up under the dash, get the dust out, make sure everything's seating right. Then I'll have 2 days to reverse it all, put the dash pad back in, and make sure everything goes back together okay. Excuse me. Brush fell off. Where's my other tweezers? There they are. I am looking forward to trying out some of the stowage on the kit, though. I tested on some sprue. I think this reacts to model cement. It gets tacky. Let's try this out. If that's the case, I can lightly scratch the back of it and mount it better that way. As much as I like using super glue. Yeah, it reacts to model cement. So trumpeters made their own version of DS100 styrene. Put a clothespin on that. We'll let that sit for a good while. Come back and see what it does. Yeah, we'll let that sit there for a bit. See how strong the joint is after it sets for a while. The pintle in there. Okay, it looks like we just have to do the handles above the doors and the guards over the taillights. Sorry about all the yawning. tired. Okay. I've just been BSing to myself then. Just asking if you had anything planned for the weekend. That's good. I was talking about how I'm going to be taking 4 days off here and kind of doing a stay-home vacation thing. And in that time, I want to use the first day, go out that night, get the dashboard pulled out of my car, and then while it's out, use the day after that to kind of clean things up, maybe zip tie some stuff, you know, back into place, make sure or repair the vacuum lines that I know broke on top of the heater core, so I can get my climate zones working properly when I switch them around. And just do some good streams in the meantime, but essentially I want 4 days to be lazy. Like, if I do the dash pad, cool. If I don't, cool. But I want to attempt it at least. Yeah. I've had the replacement dashboard for a couple years, just never had time to do it. And to be honest, I'm kind of tired of looking at it. And I want to address an electrical issue under the dash where my dash lights don't work. And I know it's got to be a short or a short to ground of some sort. It could even be an open, it could be a disconnected wire. Because at one point they worked for a little bit, and I'm like, ooh, maybe the car's Christining itself. And then they stopped working again. Which means it's probably somewhere where my feet are and I keep bumping it. I never was the best spark chaser, so hopefully whatever the issue is something that's pretty apparent. Excuse me again. Oh my god, I gotta stop that. Actually, we are coming up on move around break time, so I'll probably go get some highly caffeinated corn syrup while we're at it. Well, it doesn't arc on me, so it's not like something under the dash that's sparking and arcing. But it's just one of those things where it started working, so I'm like, oh, hey, cool. And then it stopped again, and I'm like, oh, hey, fuck. Alright. Make sure I got everything externally on there. We're getting close here, guys. Got that. Got all that. I didn't do the inside of the doors. They're glued shut anyway. B29, 2 of the 47s. That sounds about right. Maybe you arc welded something, I don't know. Okay, I need to find a picture of just in front of the driver's hatch to figure out how that little piece goes. Because it goes right there, but there's nothing too clear on it. I think it's the catch for the wire cutter, but I could be wrong. So back to the picatures I go. It is not the catch for the wire cutter, that leans forward. There's a good view. Okay, so the part's not abundantly clear. It won't even stand out in autofocus. That rectangular piece is a padlock. And that's just a piece of metal with a hole in it. I'm figuring that's... in the references they use, it's probably where the driver just stored the padlock for securing the hatch when not in use. Well, I'm not going to be doing anything that ridiculous. But it's time for me to do something forward moving on the car again. I just need time where I can afford to have it down for more than a day or two. There's the hammer. I at least want to get this base camouflaged, if not base NATO green, by the end of the stream today. Still got a lot of little stuff to add to the turret. Once that's on, we can probably base coat it. But it's been an hour, so let me put up the pause screen, and I'll be right back. Take a little move around break. If you've been sitting for over an hour, I suggest you do the same. Your blood vessels will thank you for it. I'm back. Just ran upstairs and grabbed some cheese real quick. Two more pieces of provolone, then we can get back to it. And see, we got a couple more lurkers in. Welcome, guys. I always did like the look of this vehicle, though. And I only know of 2 times where this was used in films as well. One was a Canon film back in the 80s. Invaders from Mars. And the other time was Battle LA. And I did watch that the other night. That movie was still fun. Who's messaging me now? It might be a work thing. Hold on. I have to talk to the wife about that one. Those. Actually, these have had plenty of time to dry, so I can clean them up a little bit. How are these? Oh, still a little gummy. Just going over the instructions, making sure I didn't leave out any extremely tiny parts that should have been put on up to this point. Jeez, how long is this mix? Oh, it's almost over. Okay. Ooh, I need to see if I can find that picture. Just because it's different enough to annoy the hell out of people. Most times you see the spare tire strapped to the side of the hull somewhere. There's one time, I could have sworn I saw one ratchet strapped to the front of the trim plate, like that. I'll have to look over some pictures of stowage before I do the final set in stone on where I want things to go. And I'll have to see if I have some tight nylon sand-colored thread for the rope. You never see one of these vehicles without rope on them. Somewhere. Throw together the machine gun real quick. Before I finalize that, where does it live? Okay. We're going to put a little bit of a twist on this just to show it doing what it's supposed to do. I don't want to put the gun on it until after I'm able to paint that separately, though. Apparently this just goes in here. And without the extra weight of the gun on it, it's not going to want to tip over or do anything else stupid. There we go, that's what that is. Very small anchor. For a 20-year-old kit, though, I have to say this isn't half bad. So I'm going through some pictures. Okay, there's one installed. Alright, back to the gun assembly. Hey Jaeger, how you doing? Thank you for the follow. Yep, just like you, I'm on all three. Yeah, we're working on a trumpeter LAV25. And then, let me get the parts out real quick. And I'm thinking next week we're either going to paint on Poppy or on Fulcra from Zenless Zone Zero. But I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with all these pieces here. How you been? Yeah, my days off are odd, so I'm not on as often as I'd like to be. So. I really do need to get back into the swing of just forcing myself to do it. So this is the cradle for the gun. The rest of this can stay off until after painting. Okay. Now, I kind of worked out of sequence, so I'm going back through and finishing up what I didn't take care of as far as the little pieces, because I didn't want them all being snapped off while I'm handling it too much, assembling the big stuff. And I printed out some new wheels for it, too. Yeah, let me know if anything's too loud. I've been messing around with my audio settings again. Everybody else seems to think it's okay. Alright. Photo etch, where'd you go? It's fun. There is some stuff out there for, like, Gunpla and stuff. But it's not as abundant as you would think. Because I've been looking around for stuff like that for other things. Because I did get the, oh god, what was the company? There you go. Oh, there's plenty of those out there, I know that. Or there's like imitation work hangers, you know. Yeah, the effects are really cool if you can find them. Let me show you why. Just one moment. Now these are for a figure that I'm gonna get back to printing on Saturday once the rest of my red resin gets here. Clear red. They got clear blue, green, orange. So if you can find the energy effects and print them out, like there's her feet. The only reason I had to print these clear is on the finished character, that's clear, and so is that. So once it's all painted, that'll transmit the light through the foot. Should look interesting when it's done. Okay, where are the other pieces? Yeah, I've got a mermaid that I'm painting up too, like a cyber mermaid. And I printed the lower body in clear green because all the fins are on it. And I want the fins to read as translucent. And it worked out pretty good. Just the base parts for it have been problematic, so I haven't printed them yet, so it can't stand on its own. Okay, now the fun part. So what I'm assembling here, I'm trying not to fling these pieces off. Okay, that one got flipped over good. On vehicles like the LAV25, they typically have, well, this hook-looking thing, right? It goes right here in front of the driver. There's another one on the turret. When they're driving along in occupied areas, or potentially hostile areas, they lift this up and lock it in place. So, just in case somebody's run a wire across the road while they're driving, it doesn't hit them in the neck. Most times you won't see it up, but there's sometimes you will. I'm just trying to find a picture of it so I know where to put the base pieces. Maybe it's further back in the files. I'm trying to find some in-theater pictures of it. Yeah, they're up on that. I'm trying to figure out how these plates fit at the bottom of it. Okay, they're pretty much directly at the bottom of it. Alright. Super glue. I thought it would be more involved than it was. It's not. It's basically a brass sandwich. Come on. Now it's not wanting to cooperate. I probably just glued it to my finger. There. And I don't dare risk picking that up with my tweezers because it would probably just ping off in the middle of nowhere. And then I'd be left trying to make that same part out of sheet plastic. We all know the dreaded ping when you pick something up with tweezers. And it decides to try and find Tahiti. Alright. And then this lives right there. Ah. It doesn't want to live right there. Yeah, we don't do the song requests here since I'm also on YouTube. It causes copyright troubles, so I use copyright-free mixes done by certain artists. Haven't had any trouble yet. I know, it's a hassle, and I've had enough troubles just getting things working as it is. I've got the audio split as far as, like, if I were to do Twitch only or something like that, it wouldn't show up in the VOD. I just don't want to run the risk. Alright, so let's get to finishing up the turret. And that little bugger will be the last thing we put on there, too. Where was I on the turret? Ha, gotcha. I'll have to look into that. So far, the copyright-free stuff I found isn't too bad. There's some out there I've found that's worse than elevator music. I appreciate that. I wouldn't mind from time to time, but at the same time, even my own music can annoy the heck out of me. I'm weird like that. No, but I was saying before, I can't remember the name of the company. It was back in 1920. They did a Death Scythe Hell custom, but the TV version in master grade scale. I've got that stored away somewhere around here, finished. And the way they made the wings had like an extra bat-looking look to them. So, got all that, got those, that. I'm just going through to see where I left off on areas. And I need to Google something real quick. Sorry, guys. What am I caught on? Really? Hooked on my own chair. Because if I can make the sights open, I just have to build what goes inside them. No, that's a striker. No, I'll just glue them shut. Anywho. What's funny, it doesn't look like it, but this is the same cannon that's in the Bradley that made the news last year for taking out a T90. I was hoping to put some of the vision devices in those boxes, but I didn't want to waste too much time researching it. There we go. And hatches. I'm going to add these parts to the hatches while they're on the sprue. Now these are what I am guessing are the latches for when the hatch is opened. They clip on and hold it open, and that's the release lever. Could be wrong. And I can't do it while they're on the sprue. Because no, my luck, I'll glue something on backwards. I know more than I should. I mean, I've actually had people say to me, if you were in the Air Force, why do you know so much about this stuff? I just do. Do I know everything? Hell no. But I know a lot more than the average person. How's that? Just trying to eliminate some ejector pin marks. So trumpeter, especially early 2005 trumpeter, you see the little round circles inside the D-shaped pad area? Those are a pain. Oh, I've got an 1151 I've got to work on next. I'm not too happy with the tires, though. They're two-part black plastic. Take it easy, Fenrir. They're not the old-school Wranglers, either. They're the new, highly aggressive pattern with all the sidewall crap and stuff on them. Let me see here. Mr. Surfacer, where did you go? Over here. Yeah, fancy. Well, that's the reason I printed these off. The kit tires. Let me go grab one of the original kit tires. You'll see. I saved these. They might come in handy for something else. If not, I'll throw them away in a year. So, you look at these and you think, oh, those look cool. They're big. They're beefy. They're too wide. So you've got two squares here. Let's see if I can get autofocus to help us out today. So you got 2, 3, 2, 3, right? So they're too wide by a third. Whereas on this, you have 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, you're not even in camera. There. Excuse me. So, yeah, that's why I printed these out, because these make this model look like a toy. They're just disgustingly wide. And look at that. Now these are wider than the original tires on it, on the vehicle. They're part of the service life extension program. But yeah, I saw that and I'm like, yeah, I can't not see that now. So that is one case where I'll give, you know, aftermarket is necessary. Yeah, I'm slowly doing a series of Humvees though. I've got a 998 finished, a 96 almost done, and then I've got the Avenger almost done too. Then I'm also working on the prototype for the they always call it the Commando version in the model building world. Don't tell me I just lost one of those. Okay. But I'm working on the prototype of that. I'm just working my way towards the 1151. I've got the kit sitting around though. I'll probably paint some Mr. Surfacer on these and see if that knocks the apparent nature of them down. Well, that's why I was showing the tread pattern difference, because it actually had more tread than it physically should have. And I understand what you're saying, because I've got pictures of this where these look wider and not as wide, but the tread pattern always remained the same. And that's what I mean on the other one, where this, the tread is definitely not the same. There's actually added material in that. Because I noticed that in some pictures. It's like, wait, the tread's right, but the tire looks fatter. What's going on here? So, but I took some measurements. I got the official measurements of this tire and did some scale calculating, and these are correct for how I had to scale them up when I printed them out. Get the dust out of the tread too, where I cleaned off the supports. So they're ready. Handles. No, it's a thing of it's just so physically not right. I don't know if you ever built the old MPC Millennium Falcon kit when you were younger. How the sidewalls on that were too tall. It's kind of like that. The details that's on it might be okay, but it still just looks wrong no matter how you look at it. And it wasn't until Fine Molds came out with their kit in 2005? That anyone had a kit of that was even remotely correct. And then Bandai's also done the perfect grade Falcon. Oh, come on. Well, I wouldn't say complete accuracy, because there's probably a ton of other little things I could nitpick on this if I really wanted to. Um, but it's more of a case of I want it to look right, but I also don't want to take a year to finish the model. And it depends on how nitpicky I'm being. Like on the, I did a chaparral system not too long ago. I left the engine grills the way they were. It didn't bother me that they didn't look 100%. They looked good enough. And I'm probably going to hide them under some stuff anyway. Yeah, I've already got the fine molds one. If you look right there, I know it's not too apparent, but it's sitting behind the Cygnus. Yeah, that's just a blur to you guys. Yeah, for me it's more a case of I'm okay with that. And it's also, does the aftermarket cost more than the kit? If it costs more than the kit, then I'm not going to use it. Okay, let me see another thing here. Okay, they do lock up right like that. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, so the crew for this will be here next week, though. Okay. We are almost ready for paint. I just got to do the wire slicer. And it goes right there. Gonna leave the 20 ml cans off. Alright, yeah, let's build the wire slicer and throw some NATO green on this. So I want to try something a little different, since that last time it was a pain in the butt. We're going to leave those little base pieces on the fret. I think this is going to work out better. Or not. I'm trying here. Actually. I'd like to get my hands on an Ava perfect grade kit. Oops, bumped the microphone. Sorry. A little more accelerator. There we go. I know it looked more involved, but it was actually simpler than how I fought the little pieces last time. So I'm happier with that. I had Unit 1 once, long ago. Back when Bandai's plastic would just shatter sitting in the box. That's why I never finished it. The thing about the Ava kit, it's not so much about the detail. It came with a lot of the extras that you only saw in like art books and stuff. And it was the way they made the inner framework. A lot of people hated it, but I was at least able to get that far before the brittle plastic really. Okay, never mind. Super glue just let go. The brittle plastic took over. But your inner frame gets put into. Wow, both of those just fell right off. Wonderful. Gets put into a rubber sock, for lack of a better description. And that replicates the inner, the like the black undersuit of the creature, for lack of a better term. Like the black inner layer of the armor. And it came with a light system for some parts of it. Okay, we're having to do it the hard way anyway, because both these little parts decided they wanted to come off. So it got criticized because it's not perfect grade like when you hear about, you know, the Mark II Titan style perfect grade kits or anything like that. It's not some insanely complicated thing. But for the subject, it's the size. Like it's the same big, you know, over foot tall size kind of thing. And I'm honestly surprised that Bandai hasn't revised the molds for it and released not a movie, the the rebuild version Unit 1 from it. They did change the mech design a little bit in the rebuilds, but at its core, the creature's still the same. Hey, Major Havoc. My super glue is not behaving today. When does it ever behave for me? Come on. Things are things. Did you just call me young man? I just turned 49 last week. And everybody else out there probably noticed that I left the plastic out of the vision ports. I don't like the acetate they supply in these kits, so I'm just going to fill them with a microcrystal clear kind of material afterwards. And then put something over it to look like the prismatic finish. Yeah, given what the wow, brain pooped today. Given what the average lifespan is for people lately, we are kind of young, aren't we? But I'm going to take another quick stream break. Again, especially for people my age. If you haven't gotten up and moved in an hour, get up and move. Your veins will love you for it. And we'll be right back. It'll give time for that to dry. And I might be able to shoot some, at least the base NATO green on it. If not, we'll be able to do the camo. So, yeah. Give me about 5-6 minutes. I really need that accelerant to dry, though. I'm going to put the pause screen back up, and then I'll be right back. Alright, we're back, and we have Frank on the table with us now. Hey, Frankie. What? Come on. Oh, you're being rude, Frank. There he is. Yeah, still no sign of our little jumping spider friend, but it's around here somewhere. Okay, now that we're done with that, we're getting into the painting phase. Let's get this box off the desk. The less we have in the way, the better. The Warlock antenna, that'll be glued on after at least base painting, because it goes right there. And it needs to be painted sand. Then I get some wires from this antenna to that. And from what I can tell, this is part of an anti-IED system. So it could either jam or set off electronically controlled IEDs. But I can't find too much info on it, which is good. So are you gonna sit there while I paint? Bonk. Get the NATO green out. See how much I have, actually. Do I have another bottle? Yeah, I do. Okay. Oh, that's more than enough. So let's take this back off. And I want to see how our experiment's going. And yeah, I can say that Trumpeter's vinyl that they use on their stowage is glue compatible. Excellent. Hi. And honestly, now I've done this, I kind of want to go dig that mine clearing striker out and finish that up. Well, Frank, I'm gonna have you get down. I don't want to have paint spraying on you. So yeah, I know you like being up here, and you're actually better than your sister. Your sister likes to get in front of the camera. You know to stay away. So yeah. Bonk. Okay, where's the puff? Where's the puff? You're gonna have to go find the puff, then we can play fetch later, okay? Go find the puff. Go on. Go find the puff. Good boy. It'll take him a bit, but he'll actually go and find it and bring it back. Running a bit of lacquer thinner through the airbrush to clean it up a bit and clear out any obstructions that could be in there from an incomplete cleaning. I think I got it pretty good last time then. You good down there? I just want to make sure his tail's not in the way. He likes to sit under the table sometimes. I can't wait to do the camouflage. I'll be able to get it nice and tight. And if you guys got questions on anything I'm doing, feel free to ask. And we are link friendly here, so if you want to share what you're working on, go ahead. Just don't be the one guy that makes it so we're not link friendly. Let's get this dried real quick. Yeah, I can see the anti-slip texture I was putting on coming through. That's good. Right there. set this aside for a moment. Fortunately, Tamiya dries pretty quickly. Just trying to even out the top here. We'll paint the turret, and while that's drying, while this is drying, we'll paint the turret, and then that should be dry enough to handle and paint the underside. The paint I'm using is Tamiya NATO Green. It was developed in cooperation with KMW in Germany, but it's a close enough match for the US version of the camouflage as well that I use it. But it was developed when Tamiya made their 16th scale Leopard 2A6 in RC, so they could have a unique paint to sell for it. I think it matches up really well. Actually, this barrel's probably strong enough I could use it to finish off the rest. Turret basket. Wire cutter. All right. The fun part of this is going to be when we start the weathering, because I've got some products I want to use, really mud up the bottom and dress it up a little bit. There we go. So that brass showing through on that exhaust right there. Tops of the axles there. Okay. Get the airbrush cleaned out, and we'll load up the NATO Black and start the next color of the camo and get the tires going as far as painting them. Come on. Go on, Cap. Now, while we're doing this, there's one thing that's always disappointed me with trumpeter kits. No, it's not the fit. Most of the time they actually fit pretty well. Outside the US, they come with pre-printed boxes for like cases of soda and, you know, cases of water for branded stuff. However, in the US, they can't sell that because they don't have the copyright for it. So they tape over on the instructions where you're supposed to see them, and they don't include them in the boxes. So the only thing they give you... come here, where are you? Is cardboard sea rats. I'm still going to use them. It'd just be nice to dress it up with some Mountain Dew or Coke. Could I buy extras? Yeah, I just don't want to buy them. And I don't have a color printer right now in order to print the paper either. Maybe I do. I'll have to go with the wife. She might know the status of our ink. So yeah, we'll at least be able to get this base painted. After that's done, I'm probably just going to let it cure over the next day. And then Sunday when I stream, we'll clear coat it, oil wash it, dull coat it, and start in on the weathering. So Sunday's stream should be different, I hope. Okay, let me compare this against real pictures real quick. I don't think it's too far off. For the most part, it's not. There's some variance here and there. Yeah, I think for once I'm just going to follow the kit's camo guide. It's not dead on, but there's always variations within the vehicles, even though they're painted from the factory like that. Some grunt's always given a can of spray paint and told, go touch that up. I might have to get more NATO black, though. I should have enough to finish this. So when you're trying to do a tight camo pattern, always have the brush angled inward toward the center of where you're going to be painting the pattern, and you'll be able to get a nice tight edge on the outside of it. But you don't have to be too worried about being perfect. I've seen plenty of the real vehicles that have many examples of overspray happening just because of the angle of the dangle. Got a little bit of tip dry, clean that off real quick. I really don't know how much of the camo we're going to see once I'm done. We're going to be putting some, we're going to be airbrushing on like a sandy, dusty color on the lower hull for starters when we get to that point. But you still want it there because it could show through with what I'm going to be doing. I'm not 100% sure, but I want to leave that room for error. Okay. That works. On that. Sorry if I'm a little quiet, just concentrating. No worries. I like to think that when people are quiet, they're probably working on something of their own, you know? At least I hope that's what they're doing. It's actually not looking too shabby so far. At least I don't think so. Just gotta be careful I don't paint the inside of the hatch black, because it would actually be NATO green. That's when we kind of let the hatch be its own mask. Flip it over, and just paint from this side. Had I planned ahead, I just would have painted it black separately, then glued it on. Nothing we can't touch up later with a brush if we have to. One thing I do remember when I tried building one of these LAV kits back in the earlier 2000s, the decals themselves are actually kind of junk. They've got English all over them, for lack of a better word. Once I'm done with this color, I'll dig one out and you can see what I mean. And I've got light glare right where I need to see. There we go. So Sunday we'll plan on doing more on this. Unless work tomorrow wipes me out. Saturdays are not good days where I work. They can be extremely busy. And have to do with unruly people. Get a little more music going here. Clean off the tip. We're going to move on to the turret, throw the black patches on that real quick, then we'll swap out for NATO brown. Actually, before we swap out for NATO brown, we'll get the wheels painted too. Because even though the instructions call for the hubs being different camo colors, from all the Humvees and other vehicles I've ever seen, the hubs are always black. Either spray can or standard camo color black. Even on the JTLVs I've seen running around here. Having to measure where I go and what I do very carefully because of how they split the camo across the mantlet here. Don't drop the turret. Don't drop the turret. At least the hatches are essentially just cut in half by black. Makes it easy to paint them. Okay. How can I best go about painting these? I haven't drilled them yet. I've got to I gotta get inventive on how I'm gonna mount these on the vehicle. What I might do is just cut the mountings off the kit rims and throw them on these. Okay. Because I know depth-wise they're where they need to be. This would butt up against where the part fits. But I don't have any styrene rod to really mess around too much. But I like how they've got the, you can barely see it showing up. Whoever did the files for this did a really nice job replicating that rippled texture on the inside of the sidewall. There's that. Two more and then we get to do it all again. Whoops. Don't fall out of the tweezers, please. Come on, just let me paint you. I'm just gonna use my hands. I can always wash my hands. And need to replace paint. Thank God to me it dries quickly. It is sad, though, that we lost Mr. Tamiya a couple weeks ago. Actually, he passed away same day Ozzy did. Alright, now that's done. Let's get this cleaned out, get the NATO brown in. And that'll be the last color for the camo. So today's stream's been pretty good. Got the model completed, physically. And then we got the anti-slip texture on. Getting the camo on. So we made good progress without feeling rushed. And that's the real key of it, is there's no rush to it. If you aren't having fun, you're not doing it right. I just hope the dashboard replacement on my Camaro goes just as easily. Bring this back out here. Moving the tires out of the way. Oh, God. I hope this paint still works. I just realized this is one of the bottles I bought in Burley Street in the UK. So it's over 20 years old. It should be alright. Just want to shake it up a little bit more. I've got model paint older than my son. Jesus Christ. Right, Major Havoc? Don't quote me the scriptures, I was there when they were written. I also have paints older than me. Okay. That's how you know you got your airbrush tuned just right. this goes down the entire side of the vehicle. I like those odds. I'd make that deal. So that antenna base right there is also a printed piece. No, that's too dark. Hold on a sec. Knock the gain up a little bit. That helps. So it'll be getting painted sand. It's part of the Warlock system. Okay, I gotta say, I like how this music mix is hitting right now. For royalty free, it's actually sounding pretty good. Kind of has like, what's that game? EVE Online vibes to it. we are done with the left side of the lower hull. Let's go to the right side. I'm actually pretty happy with how that looks lately, especially with the figures that I've been doing. I've been feeling kind of meh, you know? Like, just, it's not sitting right with me. We'll be painting the jerry cans a different color, don't worry about that. You'll be getting the warmer olive drab color. But what was I saying? No, just lately it feels like I've been, I don't know, not doing my best work. How's that? And I've just kind of been grasping at things to try and kickstart some old skills back into order. We'll see. The crew for this is going to be the real litmus test. They're by Mini Art. I've never really worked with Mini Art figures before. I don't see them as being an issue in that regard. But I'm trying to get back into 35th scale stuff a little bit more. But I see a lot of this model coming to life on Sunday's stream. Right now it's still the kind of the boring basic stuff, you know, getting the colors in the right spots, getting the parts put together. Sunday's when it's going to come to life. That's when the weathering's going in, the details are getting painted. And for those following on YouTube, I've got a poll up where, if you want, you can select the next figure I print after Poppy's done. I guess I could ask here too for anyone who's interested. The options would be, there's 3 VTubers and 2 game characters. We're looking at Iron Mouse, Zentrea, those are 2 of the VTubers. We got Rupee from Nikkei. God, who else did I pick? I forget. Where's my phone? It'll be the Christmas version of Rupee. Okay, one moment. My memory sucks. Deme, which is another VTuber, or Bernice from Zenless Zone Zero. And depending on which version of Bernice, I need to find some clear orange resin. Put some lacquer thinner through it for a final clean out. I'm glad I ordered this though. My other bottle of Mr. Surfacer had dried out just from sitting, and I was able to reconstitute it and basically bring it back up to half a bottle, so I'm very happy about that. So right now, one person has said they want to see Zentrea done. And if you aren't subbed on YouTube, I highly recommend it if you'd like to be. I do post finished shorts of all the models there when possible. So what you get, what you see me building here, sometimes you don't always see the finished article, even on Instagram. And what I've been doing is every time I finish a project, I put it on my turntable, make a short out of it, and put it up. So, let's see here. So that'll work mainly for the people on Twitch. If you want to follow along there, you can. But it's been 3 hours. We've actually reached a pretty good stopping point anyway. If I were to try and continue on this, I'd wind up getting fingerprints on it, wearing through the paint, and causing other issues. But I'm happy with how far we've gotten. It's a very good stopping point. So I'll be back Sunday, probably around the same time. Maybe a bit earlier if I can force myself out of bed. Lately I've been enjoying sleeping in without an alarm clock. With that, thank you everybody for watching and hanging out and lurking. And I hope to see you soon on either Twitch, YouTube, or Kick. So catch y'all later. Have a good night and take it easy. Have